Hello friends, in this lecture we will discuss nesting and recursion of C functions. Just like nesting of control and branching statement and looping statement, function can also be nested. And a specific condition of nesting is called recursion. So C permits nesting of functions freely. Main can call function 1, which calls function 2, which calls function 3, and so on. There is in principle no limit as how deeply function can be nested. Now let us see an example program of nesting of the functions. So in this program that is C program to find sum of two numbers using nesting of the function. So example program is written like this one. So in this one, two programs are written. Let us try to understand the working of this program. So first statement is a hash include within less than and greater than sign is standard input output dot h. Then next statement is int sum, int comma int semicolon. This is a prototype declaration of function sum. So when this function is called in, this return an integer variable or integer value. So next is void main open and close parenthesis. So inside body of this main function int a comma b comma c semicolon. Using this statement, three integer variables a, b, and c are declared. Then next state printf statement enter the two numbers colon. This message is printed on the output screen, whereby user enters the two number that is taken in and is stored with the variable a and b by scanf function. Then C equal sum within open and close parenthesis a comma b then semicolon. This function is called in, some function is called in, and while calling the function, value of a and b are passed to this function. Then control goes to the integer function sum, and here this sum function is having two integer arguments num1 and num2. So past values are stored with variable num1 and num2. Then within the body of this function int num3, this integer variable num3 is declared. Then num3 equals num1 plus num2. The values of received number num1 and num2 are added, and that is assigned to the left side variable num3, and this sum is returned to the calling function. So what is the value of num3? Using return statement, this is returned to the calling function. So some function was called at that point. So what is the returned value? That is assigned to the variable c. And then using printf statement, value of c is printed. That is addition of two numbers is. What is the value of c? That is printed at this point. So in this way, we are nesting some function in main function. So this is called the nesting of the function, and when this program is run, we get the output like this one. enter the two numbers. So when user enter the two numbers 12 and 12, that is taken in, and output like addition of two number is 24 is displayed. Now let us discuss what is recursion. A function A function that calls itself is known as recursive function, and this technique is known as recursion. The recursion continues until some condition is met to prevent it. Now this diagram shows the recursion. So in this diagram we are having two functions, recurse and main function. So as we know that execution always starts from the main function. So when this function is this program is executed, then body of the main function is first executed, and within the body of the function here mentioned is the recurse. Within open and close parenthesis nothing is mentioned, and then semicolon. So this function, the recurse function is called in. So control goes to the this function. So void recurse. Then body of this recurse function is executed, and again here we see that within the body of the recurse function, this function is again calling itself recurse. So this function is called in, and what is then control goes to the next statement after this recalling of the recurse. So we say that this recurse is called in within recurse function. So recurse is the recursive function, and process of calling itself is known as recursion. Now let us discuss an example program. And here in this example program, C program to calculate the factorial of a given number using a recursive function. So we will discuss a C program where factorial of a number is found, and this factorial is found using the recursive function. So an example program is written like this one, and in this example C program, two functions exist, main function and factorial function. So first statement we are familiar with, that is written to include the standard input output .h header file in our code. Second statement is function prototype declaration. So in this function prototype declaration, long int, this is the return data type, that is this factorial whenever called in return the long integer data, and it receives the data using the formal parameter int I. The next statement int main, and we know that the execution of the program starts from the main function. Inside open and close brace, first statement declares integer variable I simultaneously. Its value is initialized to 5. The next printf statement factorial of %d. So at this %d, value of I is printed, that is value of I is 5 is printed. Then is %ld. Here instead of d, it is the %ld. It means that we have to print a long integer data. Then again, compiler searches for the value of the second variable, and here it is the factorial in open and close parenthesis I, that is factorial 5. So this is function call. So at this point control goes to the function where it exists in the program, and past value 5 is copied in the formal parameter I. Inside open and close brace here, if I greater than or equal to 1, that is 5 greater than or equal to 1, this time it is true. When true, if part of the statement is return I into factorial I minus 1, return 5 into, again this is the factorial function call, that is this function is calling itself, but calling itself it is passing a value which is less than by the previous value, that is 4 here, 5 minus 1, that is 4. So when function is called in, again condition is tested inside the body of this function. This time it is going to be 4 greater than or equal to 1. Then 5 into, this time it is going to be 5 into 4 into. Then function is again called in. So in this way, this function is called again and again till the value of this condition is satisfied. When this value becomes 0, or before that one, return I, that is here it has to return the value of 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So multiplication of this, that is factorial of 5, is returned to the calling function, because at this point if this condition is false, so when this value becomes 0, control comes out of the if statement, and what is the value that is returned to the point where it is called from. So at this point, what is the factorial of 5, that is printed, and then last statement we are familiar with, to tell the operating system that program is executed properly. So in this way, by calling the factorial function again and again, that is called the recursive process, the factorial of 5 is calculated. And when this program is run, we get the output factorial of 5 is 120. So in this way, we discussed what is recursion, what is recursive process, and an example program in which we calculated factorial of a 5 using recursive process. So at this point we end this class, and till next class, bye and have a nice day.